Hold on. There we go. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Out of Touch. I'm your chipper and jovial and reliable and consistently on-time host, Kai Schwemmer. It's so good to be back with you guys. We had a wonderful stream yesterday. Let me turn down my mic a little bit. I think I'm a little loud. You guys are going to have to let me know in the chat. We've got a beautiful suit on today. Can I just say, this is probably one of my favorite looks that we've gone for all year. Get it? Get it? Because we're in the first day of the year? No, but we went for the double-breasted, thinly and strictly patterned double-breasted suit here, and we've gone for a golfing tie. We've gone for the tie that literally just has a guy golfing on it with some golf clubs. Do I golf? No. Does that matter? Absolutely not. I'm still dripped out from head to toe. I figured this was a little bit of it was an appropriate kind of New Year's celebration look. Proper, gentlemanly, distinguished. So I hope you guys are enjoying, of course, the aesthetics of the show. It still baffles me that there's a lot of people who have not even seen the intro graphics to this show. There's a lot of people who perhaps for the first time ever are watching Out of Touch with Kai Schwemmer, the show that we do very consistently every single Saturday, and we're going to be doing it more consistently now that my school class schedule has changed a little bit, which is why we're getting a stream today. We're still out of class, and we'll be doing a couple more streams this week. So we will we'll be letting you know kind of as the week goes on which days I'll be doing the show. Happy birthday, little birthday shout out to our buddy Cheeto. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Cheeto on YouTube. He does kind of Asmongold type streams. Very epic guy, a friend of the show. He's an awesome guy. It's his birthday today, so just a quick shout out to our boy Cheeto. We love this guy. And yeah, today we've got exciting stuff to talk about. We're starting off the year right with all kinds of exciting issues. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Minnesota fraud, the Somali fraud occurring at daycares around Minnesota. We're going to be talking about 2026, the upcoming midterms. We're going to be talking about which issues are most important to voters across the country. We're going to be talking about what I believe the plight of the right wing is right now, where I believe we're headed, and why I think it's straight off a cliff in many respects. But we're going to talk about all of that today, and we've got some exciting announcements too. And if you want to support the show, if you want to help me, in fact, we can even give it a special thing. There's an emergency trip that I would like to make to California to be at a very special occasion. I don't know if I can say what that occasion is, but there's an emergency trip that I'm hoping to make. So if you want to support that emergency trip with some funding in order to get to California, show your support to the stream, to the show, to the California trip, by going to powerchat.live/kaiclips, and we'll read all of your comments, all of your super chats at the end of the show. There's also the Gumroad. I'm working right now on updating the Gumroad, making sure it has a backlog of every single episode of Out of Touch, every single other stream that we've done. It, of course, receives any content that I put out early. So before I put out a YouTube video or a debate or anything like that, all of that gets put up on the Gumroad first. So that's the advantage that you get if you're on the Gumroad. It's linked in the description or in the bio of the YouTube channel, the Rumble channel, wherever you guys are watching this. Other big news. This Sunday, we're going to be featured in a new Jubilee video called One Liberal College Dropout versus 20 Conservative College Students. We were debating Adam Mockler. Adam Mockler was our Liberal College dropout. It's going to be very interesting to see what it ends up looking like, because it's been 3 months, I think, since we shot this thing. 2 months at least since we shot this episode of Jubilee, and so I have kind of totally forgotten what it was that I said to him. I remember it wasn't as good as my first appearance on Jubilee. It wasn't as good as the first one. So I'm going to preface that episode saying, look, guys, it's not going to be as good as the first one with Mehdi Hassan. We also just didn't get as much screen time as with Mehdi Hassan. There was one prompt that I really wanted to debate him on, and I just was not able to debate him. So I ended up going up for a second prompt because what, am I going to waste content? I'm not going to like go up and debate him about whatever. So I went up for a second prompt, but this prompt was just not even close to as fun as the first one. And the framing was really cringe. Wait, hold on. They've posted it. Let me pull this up, actually. Let me pull this up so that you guys can see the video. We're going a little multimedia today. Oh, this is funny, actually. Hey, did you guys know that Jalran Mamdani is a fascist? This is actually really rich. It is really, really funny to me. We'll pull both of these clips up. We'll go a little multimedia here. Bro, who is this guy? Who is this guy in the chat plugging his own stream? Get the flip out of here. Get the flip out of here. Mike Phantom. Get the flip out of here, Mike. I'm sorry. That's mean. But what is that? Happy New Year, my boys. I'm doing my first stream. Not during my first stream of the year, pal. So, get the flip out of here, guy. Anyway, but we love him. We love him, though. We love Mike. Whoever he is. It's probably a bot. Just, it's crazy. The audacity of people in the modern age. We truly do live in a period. We truly do live in a period. I'm dumbfounded. Frankly, I'm dumbfounded. Okay, well, here's the video. Let me pull this up real quick for everybody. Mike Pence burner. That probably was Michael Pence. That probably was Michael Pence when you really think about it. I don't doubt it. We'll pull this up so that you guys can get a look at the little teaser. I'm only featured once in this, and it was like really, really briefly. So yeah, like I don't know what to say. It's kind of like a nothing burger, the intro video, but I want you guys at least to hear the prompt that I went up for, because that was crazy. Like the prompt was just so goofy. And once you guys see it, you'll know what I mean. So let me pull this up for all to see. Alrighty. Now I'll make myself a little bit smaller. My apologies for the delay, fellas. Okay, here we go. Well, we're tuning in. We've got our buddy Mike in the chat. We love Mike from IDG. IDG's discontinued, but we still love Mike. Great tie, dude. Hey, thanks, Gerard. I don't even golf. I'm doing like stolen valor. Okay, let's listen to this.
History. To me, it sounds like fascist, most corrupt in history, who's escaped the law because of his political influence or something. Why don't you want Donald Trump dead?
What do you think is radicalizing more people, Nick Fuentes or MSNBC?
Probably MSNBC.
Really?
Yeah.
More so than Nick Fuentes. I hear someone laughing behind me, and that's kind of,
I think it was like, who's laughing? Yeah, they like panned to me, but it's like, who's laughing? I think that was what, if I'm trying to think back, because I can't even remember. I can't even remember what the context was of that reaction, because it's been 2 freaking months. At least we're getting it. At least I'm not being locked up in content jail anymore. But I remember, like, I was like, who's laughing? I didn't hear a single laugh, I don't think. I might be hallucinating that. I might just be making up an explanation on the spot. But yeah, W. Sarah Stock,
the country, they are a net benefit. Can you cite a study of the opposite?
I can cite theory. I can cite
economic theory. You asked me for a study and you can't cite one? Because the barriers are increased.
What are the barriers?
That's Marty. This guy killed it.
Work requirements, and that's working 20 hours a week.
You got me. That was a good one. That was really good. Thank you.
That was great.
You got me.
I cannot wait for you guys to see that debate. Oh my goodness. Marty crushed it. Marty actually crushed it so hard.
My first claim is Trump is causing a rise of fascism in our generation.
That is the claim I wanted to debate so badly, dude. I wanted to debate that claim so badly, but I didn't get the chance.
My next claim is, despite Trump's claims, the economy is not in a golden age. My next claim is, children are safer with the average illegal immigrant than with Donald Trump.
That's the claim I went up for. That's the claim that I went up for, because it's just like, holy goofball claim. That was crazy. That claim was just like what are we even doing, guy? The rhetorical framing there. And I don't know. I don't want to spoil it. We'll do a reaction. We'll do a reaction stream. So I don't want to spoil anything. But that was just like a crazy claim. So that's the one that I went up for. No spoilers.
My last claim is Donald Trump is the most corrupt president in American history. My name is Adam.
That's a crazy claim. Like, I didn't know which way he was going to take it, but that's a crazy claim just because there's probably one of these MFs in the Jubilee circle that knows like way too much about Woodrow Wilson and is going to like fight to the death to say that Woodrow Wilson was more corrupt, which is true. But yeah, I thought that was a very brave claim on Adam's part. But all that aside, Adam Mockler is one of the up-and-coming liberal content creators who I respect the most. When we saw each other at the UNF America tour, we like shook hands, we flicked up, we took a photo together. He also has he's got chud physiognomy. He's got this like happy, chipper chud physiognomy. I really can't hate it.
Mockler. I talk politics on...
Like, he's not an evil dude. He's a chud. He's a total chud. I love it. I love it. More of this. Less of Dean Withers, more of Adam Mockler.
Single day, and I am a liberal college dropout.
He's just like a chudler.
Today,
I'm
surrounded by 20
Adam Mogler is what they call him. That's a joke.
Conservative college
mog.
students.
He did not mog. Anyway, what do you guys think of that awesome shirt that I'm wearing there? Very, very colorful.
Now you're saying he's the most corrupt president in U.S. history. To me,
there I am down there. Look at that beautiful shirt. Nonchalant.
Sounds like fascist, most corrupt in history, who's escaped the law because of his political influence or something. Why don't you want Donald Trump dead?
What do you think is radicalizing more people, Nick Fuentes or MSNBC?
Probably MSNBC.
Really?
True.
Really? More so than Nick Fuentes. I hear someone laughing behind me, and that's kind of,
Quick little drive-by Kai moment. They love me because I've got an expressive face. That's why they love me. They love me because I have expressive eyebrows and an expressive face, because I can raise both eyebrows like this, because I can wiggle my ears, because I can go... Isn't that crazy? Yo, ear wiggle check. That's why they love me. They love me because I've got expressive eyebrows, and that's why they have me on their shows. That's the only reason. But if it weren't for that, I'd be dead to them. They would never even have me on. They just want me for my expressive eyebrows. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, oh, that's wrong. Hold on. That's wrong. That is wrong. My bad. There we go. There we go. Now my hand's behind it. This is how it should be. Perfect. Anyway. Oh, hold on. No, it's still wrong. There we go. Now we're back. Anyway, so that's coming out on Sunday. Be sure to go give that a watch. The framing, though, of that question, it's like Trump is safer with the average illegal immigrant than... Or no, Trump. A child would be safer with the average illegal immigrant than with Trump. That's just like such a ridiculous claim. It's like if you were to produce a statistically relevant study of this idea, so you have like, let's say 1,000 Trumps and 1,000 illegal immigrants, which group is going to have committed more violent crimes? Trump has not committed a violent crime. So obviously the illegal immigrants. And then the question becomes, are you safer with a guy who maybe like said some gross things about, women because he's a billionaire and because he hangs out with a lot of like supermodels? Is your child safer with like a creepy billionaire or with people who have literally like trafficked children? Like, come on. Like, come on. Are we serious people here? Are we serious? Can we be a little bit more serious here as people, as human beings? But yeah, I'm very excited for you guys to see it. I don't think I mogged as hard as I did Mehdi Hassan. Maybe physically, yes. Physically mogging, totally awesome style. We're preparing for the influx of DMs from federal agents posing as young women. Happens every time. But yeah. I don't know. Trump was in the Epstein files. Yeah, but okay, I don't know. This is the thing. Not to play public defender of Mr. Jeffrey Epstein, but like, you know who else is implicated by the Epstein files? Noam Chomsky. I'm almost at the point where I think that Epstein just like wrote a bunch of people's names down. There is probably something sus, but I don't believe that Trump is a pedophile. I have no reason to believe that Trump is a pedophile. Do I think Trump is a creep? Yeah. Do I think that he's a billionaire who probably had like sussy relationships with women? Yes. Is that a problem? Absolutely. Would it be better if we produced candidates that were absolved of those kind of accusations because they lived righteous lives? Yeah, that's kind of what we're arguing for. That's like why I do my show. I do my show so that I can tell young men, keep yourself virtuous. Like it's literally the Scout motto. Live the Scout motto and the Scout law. Be honest, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean. What is it? A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. Based. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times. And this is the important part. This is the message that I have for all young men. I'm taking it from the Boy Scouts. I don't care. Copyright strike me. I do not care. You guys are babies now. You include women in your movement. You need to keep yourself physically strong, mentally awake, morally straight. Those are unironically three of the best mantras, three of the best goals that could ever be enumerated by any organization, especially a political one. Keep yourself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. My brothers in Christ, we are Boy Scouts. We must be the Boy Scouts who were given up on, but continued fighting. The Boy Scouts of America, they left us behind. We are the forgotten Boy Scouts of America. You remember when, Politico wrote that article, The Forgotten Gamers of America? We are the forgotten Boy Scouts of America. Because the Boy Scouts of America Association organization left us behind, but we still remain physically strong, mentally awake, morally straight. Write that on my tombstone. I want every single person here to keep themselves physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight, because if we have more young men who do those three things, who resolve, because today is the first day of the year. Take the pledge. I'm taking the pledge with you. I am taking the pledge with you. I pledge to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. I pledge it right now. In the year of 2026, this is the year that we take our discipleship more serious, that we grow in our discipleship. Followers of Jesus Christ, that we grow in our discipleship, that we resolve to go to the gym, to work out, but not just that, to keep ourselves physically strong, but also mobile, agile, flexible. We need to be well-rounded as people. We need to be well-rounded as people. Next, I take the pledge. Like that first part, that's easy for me. I like all that stuff. Maybe I'm going to have to start doing more cardio. Okay, that's fine. That's cool. I pledge to do it on this day, the 1st of January, 2026. I pledge to keep myself physically strong. Next, I pledge to keep myself mentally awake. What does that mean? I will go to bed on time. That's going to be a tough one, but I pledge to do it. I will keep myself mentally awake by pursuing higher education, by learning, by being genuinely interested in information. I pledge to learn more and to become more well-rounded as an individual. One of the big problems is that, frankly, right now, I'm way better at debating right-wingers than I am at debating left-wingers. And I'm going to be doing a campus tour with Reawaken USA, and I need to be good at debating left-wingers. So I pledge to be mentally awake. Now, third, this is the most important. Morally straight. Sexually straight also, but morally straight. I pledge to be morally straight. I pledge to take the vices in my life, the things that distract me from my discipleship, the things that can be used as weapons against me. I pledge to remove them from my life, to repent daily, and keep myself morally straight, to keep my eyes on the prize, on the sure foundation, which is Christ, to keep my hand on the iron rod. That sounds sus if you're not a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but it's not sus, I promise. To keep my hand on the iron rod, and I promise to keep myself morally straight. That's the pledge. I want everybody to say it in the chat right now. I pledge to be physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight in the new year. Pledge that right now. That's what we need. If we have young men in this country, in this movement, who can do those three things, they will not have wherewith to threaten you. They will not have a thing to levy against you. If your reputation is impeachable, then everything you stand for is at risk. And we've talked about that. We have talked about that before, right? You know how powerful Matt Gaetz could have been? So yes, we need absolutely to keep our eyes on the prize and remove those vulnerabilities from our lives. And I said this to a buddy. I said, look, maybe at first you don't feel the religious motivation behind it. Maybe at first you do not feel this inclination to live morally, morally straight. You do not feel this inclination to live a just and a virtuous life for religious reasons, but that's fine. If at first you do not feel religious impulse, you must at least feel an impulse to live this way out of a sheer sense of self-preservation. And by the way, the effect there, at least in the temporal, at least in this world, is the same, which is that you are removing vices from your life and you are basically creating an unimpeachable reputation. So let yourself improve, even if it's just at first, because you feel it necessary out of a sense of self-preservation. But that will quickly grow, I hope. That will quickly grow into a need or a drive to do so for a higher purpose. To follow the commandments not just because they keep you safe, to follow the law of chastity not just because it keeps you safe, but follow the law of chastity because you want to follow God's commandments. And that's actually, that's the real red pill. This is a huge thing, actually, that a lot of people need to realize. And I myself had to realize it too. It's like, look, am I following the commandments because it's practical? Or am I following the commandments because I love God? Because I love God so much that I want to do what he asks me to do. And he is not requiring much. So that's the real red pill. The red pill is that we should not follow the commandments just because they help us physically, just because they keep us safe. We should follow the commandments because we love God. So, yeah, a little bit of a go off there, but that is so true. That is so real. I don't even know how we got there. I do not even know. We're like, 20, 30 minutes into the show, and I have no clue how we ended up here. But amen. I'm schwemmering. Dude, the Schwemmer be schwemmering. Dude, I'm schwemmering all over the place. So anyway, yes. That's what the mantra is. That's what the motto is, and that's what we will be doing. Other big news, other big announcements. Potential collabs very soon with Sean Mike Kelly of Internet Social Hour. Maybe a debate happening on his channel, potentially. We're not sure yet. Second, potential collaboration with the Hodge twins. I mentioned this last night. They reached out. I've yet to confirm anything. They've yet to respond to me again on Twitter. They do have like 3 million followers, so that's totally understandable. But hopefully we will be having a cool collaboration with them sometime soon with our based black brethren. So that's going to be super exciting. If that happens, that is going to be super freaking exciting. And yeah, very hyped about that, what are we? Very hyped about that. What else is there to announce? I think that's it. I think those are kind of the big announcements. I will potentially be moving into a new studio in a couple of weeks. That would be huge. This might be one of the last times you see this beautiful studio. I want to craft a studio that represents me, that actually takes part of a part of this cool backdrop that we've had going for the last 4 or 5 years. I want to be able to incorporate elements. Maybe this LED wall. This place, by the way, this is a real place. This is not some AI concoction. This is not some liminal space. This is a real, actual what is it? It's a, it's like a property that you can rent. It's like a mansion in LA. I forget where it is. It's by the Pacific Coast. So, by the way, no, it is not cool if you take steroids. I see that chat there in the chat. It is not cool if you take steroids. Okay? Not cool. We are not going to be condoning steroid use here. Let me be clear. But yeah, very exciting. And then, you know, I don't know what else we'll incorporate. Maybe the ceiling. Maybe we can incorporate something about the ceiling, the chairs. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. And I'm excited to dive into it. But hey, guys, let's dive into the stories today. Let's dive into the stuff that we have to talk about. The first thing we'll be talking about, because this is really the hugest thing, the biggest thing in the news. Oh! How could I forget? Silly me. There's another thing that we had to show. Oh, I couldn't find it. That was the problem. I wasn't able to find it. But there was a really funny clip. I'm sure I can find it. Let me pull this up. Let me pull up Twitter. Twitter's where I find everything. If I just look up Zoran, there it is. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. There it is. Okay, guys. Here is the mayor-elect, sworn-in mayor-elect of New York City, doing something crazy. Doing something so crazy, guys. Check this out. This is just nuts. Can you guys believe this? Here he is. Oh. What's he saying? You know, we've got no audio here, but what's he saying? He's saying, "My heart goes out to you," and this is what happens. What? Zoran Mamdani is based? What? No, anyway, though, this is boomer slop. I'm gonna be real with you. This kind of content, saying that Zoran Mamdani, you know, did a Roman salute. I know it's boomer slop, but it is actually a little bit crazy because this is way more obviously like a Roman salute than even what Elon Musk did. Am I saying that Elon Musk and Steve Bannon didn't do a Roman salute? No, I'm not saying that. No, I'm not saying that. But this is so much more like, he does it calmly. He does it, you know, with this big smile on his face. Like, I don't know. I thought that was hilarious. And of course, you're going to have all these boomer slop, New York Post, cat turd MFers who are going to be talking about how, see, the Democrats are the real Nazis. But really, I just think it's hilarious. I just think that the fact that this clip exists and that it is just so similar to what Elon Musk did, I do think that is a little bit ironic. And it is true that the left-wing media went nuts. The left-wing media went nuts with this story. Like balls to the walls, nuts with this story of Elon Musk doing the Roman salute. But hey, you know, if you mug, if you're good optics, if you've got a big smile and a nice beard like Zoran Mamdani, I guess you get away with anything. I guess they let you get away with anything, Roman salutes, whatever it may be. Just wait till Cat Turd begins declaring a total war against Zoran for being a true fascist. Because, well, and actually the socialists are the real Nazis because it's the National Socialist German Workers' Party. The Nationalsozialistische Deutsche Arbeiterpartei, I think is how you pronounce it. Yeah, but this content, and yeah, it like Isbroki fan, we love this guy. Like he says in the chat, it's a double standard, but literally who cares? If you spend any more than 5 minutes maybe chuckling about this clip to yourself, then you're spiritually a boomer. This does not matter. This does not matter. So anyway, that's just a little funny clip that we had that I wanted to show because I thought it was a little hilarious. But yeah, we'll dive into the actual story now, which is the Minnesota Somali daycare scams. And just out the gate, huge W, because Nick Shirley is a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Awesome check. That's just already like the best thing ever. But we're seeing now this huge consolidated push by Democrats to challenge everything that was reported on. And what is almost always the case is if there's any part of the journalism that maybe does not hold up to scrutiny perfectly, if there's any part of the journalism that, was maybe less accurate, if there was a statement made that wasn't totally accurate, even if the person's motives are unimpeachable, even if the motives are good, that point is going to be hyper fixated on and is going to be used to discredit everything, whereas the opposite, honestly, should be true. It should be true that finding fraud that equates to millions and millions of dollars being spent by the federal government or the state government, finding even one example of that should be enough to indict reasonably a larger swath of that industry, right? Like of the daycares, of these publicly funded centers. That should be the case. The other way around should be the case. It should not be the case that a single error in the research invalidates all of it, especially if the pretexts are good, if they're positive, if there's not an angle to it. Like there was a boomer, this David guy that did the reporting with Nick Shirley. This is a boomer who lives in Minnesota, who has personally investigated these issues because he saw it as fishy. That's a genuine motive. He's a native. But now we have these attempts being made to say that everything that he uncovered and everything that Nick Shirley reported is all illegitimate because one of the daycares has a manager who's now saying that he's being harassed. And I don't know if you guys saw this. Let me pull this up real quick. This is hilarious. This is crazy. Like, this is actually crazy. Where is this? This is from Fox 9 KMSP, which is from Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken, from Minneapolis. Someone broke into a Somali-run daycare in Minneapolis earlier this week, causing extensive vandalism, according to Nokomis Daycare Center. Police are investigating the incident. What we know. Staff at Nokomis Daycare Center held a news conference on Wednesday speaking about the vandalism in light of Nick Shirley's viral social media video that alleges fraud by Somali child care centers. Minnesota officials say past visits and investigations related to the centers named in the video uncovered no hard evidence of fraud. The rhetoric in the video seeks to promote division and hate towards the Somali community, which has real-life consequences, as evidenced by the damage sustained by the center, the daycare center said in a news release. You know what's interesting? Check this out. Here's the kicker. What did they steal? They vandalized this daycare center? That's just terrible. That's just horrible. It unironically is. Like vandalizing and destroying and, destroying important things or vandalizing just in general this daycare center. That is sad. And this kind of prejudicial, retaliatory attack, that's not good. But here's where it gets a little bit interesting. What was it that went on? Nasrullah, sorry, I'm usually pretty good with the names. Let me try one more time. Nasrullah Mohammed, a manager at the daycare center, said during Wednesday's news conference he and another manager arrived at 6 a.m. on Tuesday to find a burglar damaged the building to get in. Oh, wow. What did he do once he was inside? The office door was also damaged. Oh no, and important documentation, including documents related to employees and children at the daycare, went missing. Or was missing. Mohammed believes the break-in happened between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. on Tuesday. The Minneapolis Police Department told Fox 9 the center reported the break-in the morning of December 30th, and preliminary information indicates the center was broken into overnight while it was closed. Police said on Wednesday morning the daycare center informed police about what was taken from the business. So you're telling me that in light of Nick Shirley's expose of large-scale fraud concerning children at these daycares, whether or not there are as many employees as is reported on important tax information and other documentation concerning these daycare centers. You're telling me that one of these daycare centers was broken into and it was vandalized, but not only was it vandalized, but they also broke into the office to steal important documentation concerning the children and employees at this daycare? Really? A guy's going to break into the daycare in order to steal information about how many kids are in the daycare? Why? So he can do his own expose? Why is he stealing documentation, important documentation, concerning how many employees there are, concerning how many kids are actually being checked into this place? What benefit is he deriving from that? Are you going to pawn off this information? Is it about identity theft? Or is that, like, I'm not saying necessarily, like, this is not proven that it's just a way of expunging, documents that may or may not indict this daycare. All I'm asking is, what is the benefit that anybody derives by stealing information about how many children are checked into a daycare? That's interesting. That right before, because Tim Waltz, yes, is having these large-scale investigations now being launched and these probes being launched into fraud in these daycares and in the healthcare industry and whatnot. Right as that is about to happen, important documentation goes missing from the office of one of these daycares. That is a little fishy. And I don't think I'm the only one to see it that way. Ian Byington, great content creator, he was able to call that out too. Like, really? I don't know. That's a little sus to me. That's a little sus. But anyway, we will read here from a Fox report concerning what's happened since. Here it is. As federal authorities investigate reports of massive fraud taking place in Minnesota daycares, an unearthed video from a 2018 fraud case shows parents and providers involved in a fraud scheme dating all the way back to 2015. The video, taken from a local Fox report from 2018, shows parents checking their children into a daycare in Hennepin County, Minnesota, only to leave with their children minutes later. The video was taken from a surveillance camera as part of a case prosecuted by Hennepin County, according to the 2018 Fox 9 report. Under the scheme, low-income parents would sign in their children for daycare services so the providers could then claim reimbursement for services they were never truly provided. Per Fox 9. The outlet said that according to the surveillance video, some days no families would show up, but that the daycares would claim reimbursements from the government nonetheless. The timestamp on the surveillance video shows March 2015. What's next here? Another video on the broadcast showed a man handing an envelope to a parent with an alleged kickback payment from their participation in the scheme. And here's the other thing. The amount of money we're talking about shows that even if there were, because it is possible, that Nick Shirley showed up before the daycare was open. And to that I would respond, it would be super, super easy for literally any of the employees, because there were people at a lot of these daycares that he featured in his video. It would be so, so easy for any of them to have just said, hey, we're closed right now, come back later. But they didn't. They tried to shut him up. They tried to just totally stop him from asking any questions. You can say it's closed. That's fine. If you're a real daycare, you say, hey, come back later, we're not open. And yeah, could it have been done more convincingly? Sure. But we're talking about funding from state governments in the multi-millions for these daycare centers. We're talking about numbers that and income or rather just numerical values, right? We're talking about millions of dollars. This is so much money. Most people don't see that in years of working a high-paying job. Like what's a good income for a lot of people around the country? If you make 6 figures, that's a good income. So let's say you make $120,000, $130,000 a year. You're working 10 plus years to even see the amount of money that we're discussing here in these fraud cases. And you're going to tell me that all of that investigative journalism, that all of these sussy things that are occurring at these daycare centers, all of that gets tossed out because Nick Shirley went a little bit too early to these daycares? I don't think so. People are saying, well, there were children at the daycares. What if the people running the scheme have their kids there? And admittedly, there is a degree of safety and precaution that we have to take with this. There is a degree of precaution that we as Republicans, we as conservatives have to exercise. We have to be able to say, look, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Funding these daycares is probably not a terrible thing. The issue is once you introduce the equation of populations of refugees and immigrants that subsist on government welfare way more than the average American. Then you allow and you open up the doors for way more fraud to occur. And the fraud, by the way, is absolutely occurring. This kind of fraud, this like healthcare fraud, this welfare fraud, this occurs all the time across the country. And it occurs more so in particular groups. So it's important to say, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. But in places like Minnesota, in places that have received hundreds of thousands of refugees over the last couple decades, it is super important to meticulously probe these places. But anyway, that's an entirely different conversation and one that I want to get into. Because we have to ask, what the freak is even going on in Minnesota? You guys remember a couple years ago in 2017 when the Minnesota House had to pass legislation banning female genital mutilation? Why did they have to do that? Why did the Minnesota House, elected officials in Minnesota, have to pass legislation condemning and banning, making illegal the mutilation of female genitalia? Not to be gross, but that's what it's called. FGM is the acronym, female genital mutilation. Why did they have to do that in America? Was that a big problem before? Not to my knowledge. And so here's something that's interesting. Here is a report from it's titled, the name of the report is titled, The Women and Girls at Risk of Female Genital Mutilation / Cutting in the United States. And this was a report from the CDC that is featured, let me double check, make sure I've got my acronym right here. This is a report from the CDC featured in the Population Reference Bureau, the PRB, this nonprofit, right? That's the one I'm thinking of, I think. Yeah. Here's a report, again, on women and girls at risk of female genital mutilation / cutting in the United States. And here's what it reports. This came out in, when was this? 2016. So this is before they had to make it illegal. Here we go. In the United States, okay, hold on. No, where is it? Where is it? Yes, here we go. Just three sending countries, Egypt, Ethiopia, and Somalia, accounted for 55% of all U.S. women and girls at risk in 2013. 3 countries. Only 3 countries. And the refugees / immigrants from those countries accounted for the majority of women at risk for female genital mutilation in all of 2013. These 3 countries stand out because they have a combination of high FGM prevalence rates and a relatively large number of immigrants in the United States. The prevalence rate of for women and girls aged 15 to 49 is 91% in Egypt, 74% in Ethiopia, and 98% in Somalia. And we just have to get to a point in this country. We just have to get to the point in this country where we can say, when you take people either as refugees or as immigrants from other parts of the world that have totally different religious or cultural customs from what we are familiar with in the United States of America, you cannot reasonably expect them to completely cast off those prior cultural attitudes and become white picket fence, normal, naturalized American citizens. That just does not happen. And I do not say this, by the way, out of a spirit of hate. This is not me saying every Somalian, every Ethiopian, every Egyptian, every immigrant, every refugee is a terrible person. And I empathize absolutely with the plight of a refugee. This is a terrible, terrible situation. And it's absolutely a difficult thing to see happen to anybody. And the world does have to answer to some extent or to some degree for the refugees that it creates. And the United States does too. You want to know how many refugees we created by getting involved in foreign wars that were argued in favor of by Israel, for instance? Look at the recent killing of these National Guards by an Afghan refugee. We created those refugees. We went into these foreign countries, we destabilized them, and we created refugees. The destabilization of Libya by the EU, by France, by the United States, caused the influx of refugees into Europe. And a lot of people got on my case because I said at the behest of Israel, look, it is the case that it was within Israeli interests to destabilize Libya. But admittedly, I was under a false assumption that Israel was so proactively engaged in the destabilization. They were not. But it does align with their geopolitical goals, which is to destabilize the regimes that were challenging it. Libya was one of the most anti-Israeli, especially Gaddafi. Gaddafi's Libya was one of the most anti-Israeli governments of the time. It's absolutely in the Israeli interest to destabilize his regime. But I will say that the United States does have some amount of culpability in the creation of so many refugees. And it really is a moral dilemma. It is a moral dilemma to have people who work as translators for us in these foreign wars who are then, susceptible to death at the hands of, a foreign of their own state that sees them as traitors for working with Americans. It is a moral issue to just kind of leave them there after we have used them. But what's the answer? The answer is then not to do that more often. The answer is not to destabilize more countries, to involve ourselves in more foreign wars, to topple more regimes. That's not the answer. What's the answer? The answer is to reduce that, strike up more positive relationships, remove ourselves from allyships, or alliances rather, that implicate us and that require us to engage in their conflicts, and then to say, hey, we as Americans realize that bringing in a ton of refugees from foreign nations is not going to be conducive to flourishing in Minnesota or in any other state in this country. And we as Americans have a duty, yes, initially and primarily to the American people. That should not be controversial. We have a duty to the Minnesotan women who potentially are now going to be suffering female genital mutilation because it's more of a culturally relevant thing in Minnesota when it never even existed prior. And by the way, yes, when you let refugees into the United States, you become responsible for them. And so you become responsible for every single case of female genital mutilation that is occurring in Minnesota. And it's absolutely not okay. That is not something that we could ever allow to be normalized in the United States. But it's going to be incredibly difficult as time goes on to make that claim. Because we exist in a political discourse. We exist in a paradigm of relativism where cultures are kind of, you could trade them out. They're all kind of equally good, equally bad. I mean, they're really all the same. You can't say one's better or worse than another. That's the paradigm we exist in our politics today. I don't believe that's true. Now, let me be clear. I do not believe any individual is of less value as a human being. Every single person is equally a child of God is equally a son or daughter of God. And they all have the same moral value in that sense. But cultures are not the same. There are cultures that are barbaric. There are cultures that, like we saw here, engage in female genital mutilation, that see it as normal, see it as natural. There are cultures that encourage the taking of child brides. There are cultures that are not compatible with the United States, that are warmongering. There are cultures that simply do not care to adapt or assimilate to the place that they are in. And there are plenty of people who never care to cast off their culture. And if that's the case, we have to understand that every single refugee and every single immigrant carries with them something that is going to be incredibly difficult to ever rid them of, and that is going to influence the way that we end up doing our politics. You look at the election here in Minnesota between Jacob Frey, that was his name, right? Jacob Frey and Omar Fateh, the senator, the Somalian senator, or Ilhan Omar. You see this clip a couple days ago where Ilhan Omar is at this kind of, I think it was a group, like a Somalian group, that said, not in English, that Ilhan Omar's interests were the interests of Somalians and of Somalia, the foreign country. Ilhan Omar is trying to be a representative for the United States. Why are we even talking about her interests being those of Somalia? She's not trying to be voted in as a foreign ambassador. Okay? Totally different job position. If you want to say, hey, this foreign ambassador, he's going to be looking out for the relationship between the United States and whatever country he's going to be a foreign ambassador for. Okay, that's understandable. But you're saying that, like, a congresswoman, she's representing Somalian interests? I mean, are we serious right now? You've got Omar Fateh and Jacob Frey, who are doing this, song and dance, where Jacob Frey does this literal, like, ISIS hostage video, speaking in a foreign language, trying to appeal to voters who are just refusing to assimilate in his communities. That's where we're going. You think that's going to decrease? This is what you have to ask Democrats. Do you think it's getting any better, or do you think it's getting any worse? Do you think we're becoming more united, or do you think we're becoming more divided? Do you think that we're splintering off into these smaller and smaller groups? Do you think that we're becoming more civilly engaged? Or do you think we're becoming less so? Do you think that this is ever going to get better? Do you think people are going to start to assimilate more the more of them are in the country? No, of course not. If you have 100,000 more people who agree with you, you're going to stick with them, and you're going to say, well, hey, there's 100,000 people here who agree with me. So why do I ever have to, don the American flag? That's a problem. That's a huge problem. That's where we're going in this country. And this goes back, I mean, we saw this in 2020 when you had just this cringe thing during the Democratic primary where you've got, what's his name? Spartacus. What was that guy's name? Cory Booker. You've got Cory Booker. You've got, what was it, Beto O'Rourke. And you've got, I forget who else it was, all speaking Spanish on the Democratic primary stage. It didn't used to be that way. It didn't used to be that way. Our politics now are so focused on identity that it is nearly impossible for us to even conceive of a different kind of politics. And all of these groups believe in the same electoral principle, which is block voting. If you are a minority group, you are going to vote as a block. You are going to vote together. You're not going to split your vote, because if you split your vote, your group has less electoral power. And look, that's just true. I don't indict these groups. I don't indict a minority group in the United States, whether they be Black Americans, Hispanic Americans, Somali Americans. I don't at all disparage them or indict them for understanding and seeing this thing that is obvious, which is that if you are a minority group in this country and you want your ideas better represented, you're going to vote as a block. You're not going to split your vote across parties. You're all going to vote one way. And that's what we see happening, with a little bit of a difference now with Hispanics. Hispanics are actually, surprisingly so, trending to become ideologically plastic or malleable, which is surprising, which is very surprising, because that was not the case 10 years ago. But you look at African Americans, you look at Black Americans, they voted in higher margins for Barack Obama and for Democratic candidates than Muammar Gaddafi was elected in, like by the margins that Muammar Gaddafi was elected in a totally rigged election. Like, they vote in such a high concentration as their group that it is literally more of a landslide than in elections that aren't even democratic. Elections that are totally rigged don't have margins as high as the margins of black voters for Barack Obama. So that's kind of the way that we're moving and trending in our politics. And this is going to only continue. What was the way we used to do politics? The Democrats and the Republicans, they'd get on stage, they'd say, look, you Democrats, I disagree with you because I have a different view of economics. And I think lower taxes are going to help the majority of Americans. And what did Democrats say? Democrats said, well, I think there are too many rich people who control too much of the overall wealth in this country. And I think what is going to be best for the average American is an increased tax rate for the top 1% of income earners. And the people listened, and mostly white Americans said, okay, wow, I'm listening. And you had elections that went back and forth, and they flip-flopped, and they were listening, and they were won over in some cases, and maybe there was a foreign policy issue, and that was being debated about. Well, what's it about now? What's it about now? Now it's about who's going to speak your language. Now it's literally about who is going to give you more welfare, who's going to give you more money, and who is going to play the game of identity politics better. And the kicker behind all of this is the moment that white people, like in 2016, the moment that white people begin to say, okay, well, if everybody's doing this identity politics thing, I think it's okay to be able to talk about our self-interest, our interest as a group. The moment they say that, it's done. It is done. The moment white people begin collectivizing or identifying themselves as a group the same way that every single other racial or ethnic group in this country does, it's over. That's unacceptable. That is completely unacceptable. And we'll get to the point, by the way, where white people will not be the majority in this country. We're trending there. In the next 10 years, we're going to get there. Where white people are only going to constitute about 50% of this country. We are a multiracial country. But it doesn't look like we're going to be abandoning identity politics anytime soon. And if we don't abandon identity politics, do you think that the race relations are going to get any better? Do you think that white people are going to be happier? Do you think that they're going to be any better off, any happier as a group? Do you think they're going to be able to advocate for their own best interests, or do you think they're going to still be called racist? Do you think that these grievance politics that we're talking about with reparations, do you think the talks of reparations, the talks of this means-tested welfare that is going to be particularly of benefit to certain groups of refugees and immigrants, do you think any of that's going to go away? No, it's going to get worse. Do you think there's ever going to be a point where Hispanic Americans say, well, look, we're doing pretty well in this country, so we're gonna stop, just looking out for Hispanics, and we're gonna actually start, maybe assimilating to some greater idea of being an American? No. We need in our politics, and I think we're past the point of this even being possible, but we need a lack of hyphenated Americans. We need to be rid of hyphenated Americanism. Hyphenated Americanism. Americanism or African Americanism. African-American. Native-American. Jewish-American. American-immigrant. We need to do away with all of the hyphenated Americanism. We need to rid ourselves of that idea of politics. But unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be possible. So one of the only things that we can do is understand that white people, yes, do exist as a group. Christians do exist as a group in this country and ought to look out for themselves. And I honestly think this is a big problem, by the way, in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We don't seem to take our own side. Like, we have to realize that we are, yes, an interest group. It is important to advocate for ourselves. We did in the past. We have to be able to advocate for ourselves and say that, hey, we don't want Utah to become a secular state. We don't want Utah to lose all of the things that made it awesome. So, yeah. Anyway, that was just a little bit of the issue here, and that's kind of the big problem. I think everybody can see that now. And speaking, by the way, we'll just cover this very quickly and we'll jump into the super chats. Now's the time, by the way, to send them in. If you guys do want to say something, if you want to chat, if you want your message read, be sure to go to PowerChat. We'll type it in the chat, actually. powerchat.live/kaiclips. We've already got a couple, and we'll read through all of them. If you do want to have your message read and reacted to, just go over there. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about that, because there was actually a very interesting thing that came out of, and this is going to determine a lot of what we do in the next couple of years. There's a very interesting new survey or poll that came out from the Associated Press. And it's titled, "These are Americans' Biggest Priorities for the Government in 2026, according to the new AP/NORC poll." And here's what they find. Here's what they find in this poll. Priorities, these are the priorities, the legislative or electoral priorities of Americans going into the midterms. And it actually shows a graph of how they've changed over time. There's 3 issues in particular that it highlights. And here are the 3. First, immigration. Second, healthcare. And third, inflation and costs. Now, admittedly, inflation and costs is lower. It's the lowest of the 3. But check this out. Immigration is now more important. It is, and this is how it's framed. How Americans issue priorities have shifted. And this is the share of adults who say the government should prioritize immigration, healthcare, and inflation/costs in each year from 2018 to 2026. Now, polling for 2026, 44% of Americans say that immigration should be prioritized. And if you look at the graph here, this is almost double what was being said in 2021. In 2021, it was at about 22% of Americans said that, maybe 23. So we're almost double where we were. And you know what's interesting? There's a trend here. This was also the case in 2020 while Trump was in office. So in 2021 to 2022, immigration is less of a priority for Americans. But when Trump is in office, as he is now, immigration becomes a larger priority. That's a very fascinating thing electorally. It shows that talking points, rhetoric, they actually do work. Talking points and rhetoric do work in order to help people understand priorities. Some, I think, are authentic and spring up naturally. Like, for example, healthcare. Healthcare now has seen a recent uptick. It was very important to 75% of Americans during the COVID-19 pandemic. But now the polling is back up to 41%. So before, like during COVID-19, we're at 75% of Americans see that this should be prioritized. See it as an issue that should be prioritized. Now in 2026, we see a spike from recent years, from the last couple years, and we're at 41% of Americans who see it as a priority. And that's important. Republicans need to understand that. Republicans need to understand, right the flip now, that we can no longer be the party of concepts of a plan. When was the last time, I say it all the time, when was the last time you heard of a Republican healthcare proposal fleshed out? When was the last time you saw a genuine Republican healthcare proposal? It's probably been a long time. You remember when Trump was talking about concepts of a plan in 2016 and 2020 and 2024? When is it going to come out? And he's talking now about an affordability move and plan and a way of addressing housing next year, or this year rather, because we've already turned to the new year. But think about that. It's like 41% of Americans feel that healthcare should be prioritized. So the Republicans need to realize that. We can no longer be the party of just this kind of negative reaction politics. I'm so sick of Republicans only ever talking about what they don't like the Democrats doing. That is probably the biggest Achilles heel that we have. It is that we are becoming too popular and we are frankly not producing anything. Most of the victories we produced during the Trump presidency, during almost all of them, have been rhetorical or these kind of culture war victories. Okay, boom, there's only 2 genders. It's now a part of the executive branch that anything from the executive branch can only have stated that there are 2 genders, whatever. This is a cultural victory. It produces very little tangible physical result for the majority of Americans. And as much as this is like an issue that kind of took off during the election season, transgenderism is not something that is as large scale, or that is as, that affects as many people as does healthcare. And it is really, really difficult to see the party now become the party of influencers. This is what we hated about the Democrats in 2020. This is what we hated. We hated the Gen Z for Biden. We hated the drag queens and the transgender people that were, becoming spokespeople for the for the Biden administration. We hated that. We hated the influencer politics. But what have we done now? We've kicked actual journalists out of the Pentagon press corps, and we've put influencers in. And I'll be honest, I don't hate these people, and there's some that I actually really like, but Lance Videos and Cam Higbee are not journalists. They are not serious journalists. And it is very difficult for me to see. I don't mean that, by the way, in a mean way. I don't know if they'll see this, but I don't mean that in a mean way. But I do think there is something to be said for qualification. 200,000 or 1 million followers on Instagram or TikTok is not enough. It should not be enough to give you a seat reporting on the most important information. And this influencerization of Republican politics, frankly, has caused a huge brain drain. And for whatever we can say about the neocons, we don't like the neocons. We hate the neocons. These were intelligent people. They created geopolitical strategy. They were smart enough. You look at guys like Dick Cheney. This is a ruthless political actor. This is a guy who really, really was interested in the game, who knew how to play it, who was ruthless. We had guys that wrote memos in the State Department that decided the way that the U.S. military would function for the next 20 years. That's impressive. You're never going to get that from a guy who just grew up as an influencer. And so part of me going into politics, because this is the goal, this is what I've wanted to do, this is what I really want to do, I genuinely want to fix things. And one of my biggest downfalls, pitfalls, is the fact that I'm not enough policy-minded. I have to think that most politicians aren't writing the policy. They have people who do that. But we have to be policy-minded. We have to think about which things are actually going to change people's lives, what's truly going to achieve some kind of benefit, some kind of tangible benefit for Americans. And until we do that, we are wasting time. And the funniest thing is, you want to know what the funniest thing is? Democrats are 1 billion times more upset about what DHS is posting on Twitter and Instagram than they are the passing of the big beautiful bill. Than they are billions of dollars or millions of dollars being appropriated for funding, border security and the border wall. That is the kicker. Did you guys ever think about that? Have you ever realized that? Have you ever realized that the year that we have spent just posting memes that are like mean, that has radicalized Democrats, that has fired them up, emboldened them far more than any amount of legislation we have ever passed has? And this is what we need to be. We need to be, what is it? Innocent as a dove. I don't want to butcher it. Innocent as a dove, and what is it? Cunning as a serpent? Shrewd as a serpent, innocent as a dove? Or wise as serpents and innocent as doves. That's the KJV, I believe. You have to be wise like serpents. You have to craft policy, pass policy, and you have to be shrewd. Or you have to be innocent like doves. And look, people don't like that because it makes politics boring. People don't like it because they like the contention. But at the end of the day, the Democrats oppose the funding of a border wall, the construction of a border wall. Why? Because of who Donald Trump was. They were against the funding of the border wall and the construction of the border wall, not because they were ideologically opposed to it. They were not ideologically opposed to it because literally only a decade prior, they actually voted for an extension and an improvement of border fencing. So, and Republicans point that out all the time. They say, well, look, the Democrats did vote for that. And it's like, yeah, you're right. But you're not realizing what the issue is. The issue is that we have a guy in office that is galvanizing them without doing anything. And that is probably putting us in a worse position because they are more galvanized. We probably could have gotten a border wall created if we were nicer about it. And that, not nice. What did Steve Day say? Don't pence me, bro. Don't pence me. It's not about niceness, but it's about understanding that they feed off of the energy you give them. And very few people derive any energy from reading briefs and policy. You give people a bill, they don't get super galvanized about that. What they get galvanized about is an edit of a family being deported. That's what ramps them up. And admittedly, it's kind of this, balancing act because you want your supporters to get hyped up too. And your supporters also don't get hyped out, especially the modern Republican is not going to get hyped up because of a freaking, piece of legislation that's being proposed. But let's be cautious. Let's be cautious in this year. So anyways, that's where we'll leave it. That's where we'll leave this. Just very interesting. By the way, the stat is 33% of Americans. This is the huge difference. In 2018, 1% of Americans in this survey listed or mentioned living costs as a priority. Now it's 33. That's another big deal. We'll see what Trump does about that. And I think he has a perfect opportunity to actually come up with a good plan. It just has to be well executed. If it's well executed, we will shout his name from the rooftops. But until then, we are holding our breaths. Our breath. Prudence. That is what it is. Political prudence. Fordo, thank you. Thank you for saying that in the chat. But hey, gentlemen, let's jump into the super chats. I got to take a breather, dude. I've been going off. We have 888 viewers. What the? Let's see. Do we have any Kick super chats or Rumble? I know they come through on Kick and Rumble sometimes, and I don't want to miss them if they do. Hey, Carson, thank you for the kind words. It looks like YouTube's probably the best place to run the show. Yeah, I might just end up doing like Rumble. Would you guys prefer Kick and YouTube or Rumble and YouTube? I'm thinking about just streaming the two. Well, what would you guys say? It looks like Kick is probably more popular than the Rumble channel. Actually, it's about the same. The viewership's about the same between the platforms. Kick is more active. YouTube is the most active of the three. And we got a matecito. Hey, cheers, guys. Matecito. Rumble and YouTube. Okay. Great show. Hey, thank you so much, man. All right, let's move to the super chat segment. This is the fun part. All right. Here we go. Oops. Give me a second. I cut my arm off. There we go. That's better. Hey, the studio's falling apart. What's going on there? Cover up. Please. Good. Oh, hold on. Hey, yo! Huge super chat. Huge super chat. Let's go. What a way to start, gentlemen. What a way to start.
Anonymous sent $100. Hey, Kai. Bumped into at the airport the other day.
Oh,
you were
man.
super friendly.
Man, hey, thank you so much for that huge super chat, friend. I remember that. I remember bumping. Dude, that was so cool. I was with my family. Coming back from Phoenix. We went to Phoenix for a little vacation. Unfortunately, the trip was not great. My mom got really sick. She has a very complicated health situation. Not going to get into that, but anyway, she gets sick really easy. Yo! And a huge super chat. Dude, I got to figure out a way to pause these. I'm like talking about my mom's health, and it's like, yo, huge super chat.
Asian Mormon sent $50.
Huge super
Stay
chat
safe on
there.
your trip to California.
Hey, thank you, Asian Mormon. Thank you so much. I wonder if there's a way to pause real fast. Okay, I don't think there is. We'll just run through. Hold on. We'll skip them and then we'll redo them. Okay, I think we're good. All right.
Well, Cease sent $5. What is the
Thank you.
politics of
We'll read all
abortion
these. I
in
promise there's no
2026?
scamming here.
And when can we impeach
We will
the
read
Utah
over
Supreme
all of
Court
these.
for
I just want to
holding
go.
up Utah's
I
abortion
just want to
law?
go one by one. Yeah. So we had a kind of a not great vacation, but we're coming back finally from the airport. Dude, I thought I fixed it. Let's go, Blake. Hey, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Blake. We'll read over all of these again in just a second.
Blake sent $5 total.
Here, let me pour up some mate in the meantime. Dude, this freaking studio. This is why I need a new studio, because this thing's like falling apart. I've got 2 green screens holding themselves together. But yeah, so it wasn't a great vacation, but as we're walking back in the Salt Lake airport, Total Chad comes up. He goes, "Hey, are you Kai Schwemmer?" Or what does he say? Hey, your name's Kai, right? I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Hey, I watch you on YouTube." I'm like, "Yo, based?" And this guy, look, can I just say, every single time I run into one of you guys that watches the show, most of the time it's at the gym. I would say 75% of my like in real life interactions with people who have recognized me have been at the gym. So that says something great. It says that we're already keeping ourselves physically strong. Love that. But what was really cool is this guy who I saw in the airport, Total Chad. This guy's like 6'5", legend. He's got a beautiful family. I don't want to dox anything about him, but he sent it in anonymously. But genuinely, super awesome guy, chipper, jovial, beautiful family. And so, hey, thank you so much for the huge support, dude. Seriously. And shout out to you and your family. It was genuinely so cool. And then I was able to turn around to my mom and dad, and I'm like, see, the people who like me are cool and awesome and not dysgenic freaks, and they are awesome and cool people and normal, and that says something about me. But it was great. It was great. It was great to meet you, man. Seriously, great to meet you, dude. Oh, that's bitter. Oh, that is bitter. Oh my goodness. This is I've left this sitting since the morning. Yo, Kyle, thank you for subscribing.
Kyle Paris just subscribed.
Appreciate you. But anyway, let's dive into the super chats from the top now. Ooh, bitter. Oh, I didn't even read it. It says, more important question. You say more important question, but I did not see another question. I did see, there was this super chat earlier. Anonymous with the 3, appreciate you. I imagine that was the same person. They just didn't figure out how to write the question on the first one. So King Nub in the chat. Good to see you, King Nub. We love that guy. He used to be a super funder of the show. King Nub used to be like our George Soros. And now it's Asian Mormon. Now Asian Mormon is our George Soros. George Soros. But the question, 0007 says, more important question, who is your favorite Dragon Ball character? If you haven't seen Dragon Ball, I will die. Well, I unfortunately am not an African American or a Hispanic, and that means I have never seen Dragon Ball. My apologies, sir. That's a bit tongue-in-cheek. I just know that Hispanics and African Americans watch a lot of Dragon Ball. I have not seen Dragon Ball. I have seen a lot of other animes. Jujutsu Kaisen. I read Berserk. Don't think I'll ever read it again because it's like really graphic, but it was a great read. It was awesome. I love Berserk. My first ever anime was Death Note. Death Note is a great starter anime. It's one of the only ones that I ever watched dubbed. Because the dub on Death Note is actually really good. And it was just more accessible because I'd never seen it. I need to watch Vinland Saga because I haven't finished the second season. I've seen Initial D. I've seen Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter is so good, dude. Hunter x Hunter is so flippin' good. I've seen Attack on Titan, but I haven't seen literally the last part. I haven't seen the very last part. Yo! Super chat. Let's go. Appreciate you, big guy. We love this guy.
Esprokeyfan1776 sent $5. Gotta get super chats on YouTube enabled. Also more cozy streams, gaming, or talking to other creators.
Yo, thank you, Isbrokey. Isbrokey fan, we love you, twin. So true. I do got to get the super chats on YouTube enabled and more cozy gaming streams. That would be fun. We should do more cozy gaming streams and talking to other creators. Now, who could you ever mean? Now, who could you ever be meaning? Maybe a revisit to the CSGO streams. That could be real. But yes, I haven't seen Dragon Ball, so I'm sorry for the departed super chatter. Rest in peace, big guy. Rest in peace. Asian Mormon with that super chat from before. Huge shout out. Dude, you guys are killing it. We're ringing in the new year in a huge way. We are ringing in the new year in a pero en una manera gigante, pero gigantísimo.
Asian Mormon sent $50. Stay safe on your trip to California.
Thank you so much, Asian Mormon. I will stay safe. You guys, unironically, the super chats from this stream, unironically, might be enough to get me there, which would be super, super cool. More LDS content, by the way, coming very soon. Very soon. I'm so excited for that. Yeah, very, very excited to be doing some more LDS content. Dude, it's actually kind of funny. I've been getting messages from, like, moms, like, literally giving away their daughters. Like, I don't know if this is an LDS thing. I had a message from a woman today who said, hey, this is probably strange, but if you're not seeing anybody, you should go on a date with my daughter. I'm like, does she know you're writing this message? Like, does she know that? does your daughter know that you wrote that message about her? Anyway, that was funny. That was really funny. We love them. We love our moms. We love our moms, and their daughters, and their daughters. Not in a sus way. Not in a sus way. In a wholesome, respectable, and kind and loving way. But anyway, yeah. I just thought that was hilarious. I think it's an LDS thing. I think it is an LDS thing. Blake, thank you so much for the 5. It says total Kai love. I love you, Blake. I love you, Blake. Yeah, King Lamoni moment real. King Lamoni, I love or Blake. Total
Blake
Kai
sent
love.
$5. Total Kai love 07.
Thank you.
Red
Hey,
heart emoji.
total Blake love. Blake is really, if this is the Blake I'm thinking of, really our greatest ally. Silliest soldier. He is our silliest soldier, our greatest ally. Thank you, Blake. We appreciate you. We appreciate you big time. And then the super chat from LDS East. LDS East got Kai on his admin run. Oh, you stop. Oh, you stop that. Oh, you stop that. You rascal.
He sent $5. What does the politics of abortion look like in 2026? And when can we impeach the Utah Supreme Court for holding up Utah's abortion law?
These are good questions. So I don't know if I'm actually allowed to announce this yet, but I'm going to do it anyway because I love you guys. I'll be speaking at the Utah March for Life. What does the politics of abortion look like? That's on January 24th. So if you guys are in Utah, you should definitely come and be there. I'll be speaking there alongside some other fantastic people. The issue of abortion is really one that's been on my mind a lot. It's been troubling me quite a bit. We really got to figure something out. It's like the church's policy on it, I'll be honest, is really not good. And I think Latter-day Saints need to be doing more. I think it is an underrepresented issue right now. And yeah, we have to do something about the Utah Supreme Court. I'm not so familiar with some of the recent rulings on it, their upholding of it. But definitely gonna look into that. I don't know. It's such an issue. It's such an issue. And it's really surprising. It's surprising and disheartening to see how many even right-wing people are the ones that are going to like these abortion clinics. It's very sad. So that's been on my mind a lot. What do the politics of abortion look like in 2026? The issue is it is an unpopular issue electorally. You really, and this is what I talked about with Michael Knowles and Steve Dace, you do have to examine the issue necessarily from a pragmatic angle of what are we going to be able to do to limit abortions, which is super important. We have to be able to limit abortions. And it's just, it's going to be super difficult to strike that balance between being able to say that like this is a serious evil that's occurring and we do want a more abolitionist stance, while also, not enabling further perpetuation and codifying of pro-choice policy because we are too strict or mean about it. I think that is a super big issue, and I'm still wrestling with it myself. I don't purport to know all of the answers. Yo, Brandon Fish
just subscribed.
Thank you for
on YouTube.
subscribing. Appreciate you. And then we had the Isbroki, of course, super chat. We love you too. So yeah. Okay, we're caught up now. We're caught up now with some of the earlier super chats. Yesterday, I think it was Asian Mormon. Yesterday, he sent a super chat recommending the Star Wars Battlefront 2s. I might go and re-download Star Wars Battlefront 2, the original. Maybe we'll play that on stream because that's a cozy game. That's a super cozy game. I don't mean today, but maybe we'll do that in the future because that is actually a super, super cozy game. I'm a big fan. Yeah. We'll probably go and re-download it because it's not too big. I also need to clean up space on my freaking computer though. I have not got a lot of space on my computer. Yo, hold on. We got a gifted sub here. Roman America. Hey, thank you for the gifted sub. Legend. Roman America, top gifter. The GOAT. The GOAT. Paul Mauger. Let's flip and go. I don't think it's over for abortion, but it's definitely tough. And hey, welcome. You are now a sub. You have been subbed. You are now a sub, Paul Mauger. You are now a sub. Got to do that with the Gumroad boys, that could actually be sick. What if, okay, you know what? I think that's what we're going to do. What we're going to do is Tice, that's a great idea. Free Chuck Johnson. No clue what happened. He's actually anti-Mormon, though. I got to be careful. About that guy. Sussy guy. I don't know if we're freeing him yet. I'll have to debate it with my Mormon Mafia colleagues. Me and the Beamers, we're going to have to assemble a council. We're going to have to consider the case of Charles Chuck Johnson. We're going to have to see what happens. I'm like the God. So you, Chuck, come to me? But anyway, yeah, I think maybe that's what we'll do because we're going to figure out the Discord integration better. And so all of the people subscribe to the Gumroad. Maybe we'll open up the Discord for everybody, but we'll do special privileges. I'm spitballing here. Let me know what you think. We'll do special privileges for the people that have Gumroad subscriptions, and we'll do like a gaming night. Maybe on Schwemmer Saturdays, like afterwards, or maybe Saturday afternoon, we'll do like a gaming, not stream, but just like gaming. We'll squad up. That would actually be, that'd be pretty goated. I'm not going to lie. That would be a lot of fun. I like the sound of that. Tice, good idea. The Council of Beamers, yep. Yeah, the Beamers are reviewing the case. I do think that would be sick. And I want to do more for the people subscribed to the Gumroad. I mean, you get the early access to the content, but I want to do more because I love you guys so much. Because you're high caste. Because you guys are high caste individuals. Anyway. I hate that I just tuned in. Oh, I don't know if he's talking about politics. Hey, thank you for being a new big fan. Yeah, I talked about politics for like the first hour of the show. And now we're talking to the chat. We're going over some of the whatchamacallit. We're going over the super chats that have been sent into the show. But thank you. There's a ton of people that have been supporting the show recently just after the Cam Higbee debate, after the debate with Steve Deace and Michael Knowles. So I really do appreciate it. And dude, we hit 17K today on Instagram. We're posting. Yo, we got the Tyler Boyer follow just now. Mormon Mafia assembling. Is that the Mormon Mafia calling? Yo, is that the Council of Beamers? Is that the Council of the Beamers calling right now? I'm picking up the phone, man. That's actually huge. I don't know what happened for him to follow me now, but maybe he saw that debate with Cam Higbee and he's like, "Yo, you got totally owned." Harrison Smith featured us today. We've got good motion, fellas. We have got good motion coming into this year. Harrison Smith featured our clip, our debate with Cam Higbee. Dude, that Cam Higbee debate went a lot better than I thought. It went a lot better than I thought it would. Because this is a guy who knows a lot about Israel, and I think we held our own pretty well. So it's been a cool source of support. Oh man, this is really yummers. Yeah, it is weird that dual citizens are allowed in U.S. government. That is a sussy thing. It's like maybe it's foreign ambassadors. That makes sense. But then again, though, it's like you don't want them as foreign ambassadors because if they're a foreign ambassador, then they might be like doing the ambassadorship on behalf of the foreign state. So what's up, Beast Ryan? What's going on, Beast Ryan? Do you and Nick Shirley talk? Dude, I thought I grabbed his number because I met him. But I can't find it. I wish, dude. Because I met him at AmFest right before he blew up. Yo, Connecticut AFer, hey, thank you for the super chat over there on Rumble. He says, Kai, we have a government in gridlock, the Democrats against our interests, a Republican Party that doesn't deliver. How can we create actual change and not just get small wins? I genuinely think it's policy. Like, I'm getting so just like, I'm so sick of the anti-intellectualism of the right wing. And I'm so sick of just not producing policy. I really think if Trump comes up with a good affordability proposal, a good housing proposal for this next year, I genuinely think we have serious political capital to work with for the midterms. But until then, it's going to be super difficult. I mean, we've lost in the courts a lot. And pointing out the government in gridlock, it's like we have the House, we have the Senate, we have the judiciary, we have the executive branch. We can't do a thing. We own every single branch of government, and yet we can do nothing. So yeah, that's a good concern.
$15 Kai dishing out the white pills at the start of stream. W. Jackson Wayne for having you on again.
Yes.
HMU when you play Lethal Company.
Dude, Lethal Company. I'm not familiar with Lethal Company. Or you guys told me about that yesterday, didn't you? Let me look this up. Let me look up Lethal Company. Also, thank you, Latter Day Based. We love this guy. We love Latter Day Based. Says Kai dishing out the white pills at the start of the stream. Yup. And yeah, we love Jackson. Jackson Paul, love this guy. Jackson Paul is a total goat, a total legend. Love him to death. We'll be doing more collaborations with him. This Friday, collaboration with them. With him and, I don't know if I can announce this, but I will. But I will because I love you guys. I don't know if I can announce anything, but I'm going to do it anyway because I love you guys and I give you content. Collaboration with Jackson Paul and also Carden Ellis of Ward Radio. So, boom. And Paul Mauger says the GOP fails to deliver every time. Yeah, that's actually true. You have to be able to punish the GOP. I agree with that. I 100% agree with that idea. You have to be able to just like before the election happens, punish them. Punish Vivek Ramaswamy for saying that anybody can be an American just like if they believe in like democracy, literally. Well, yeah. Are you an American? You don't even speak English. Oh, you're telling me you believe in democracy? What are we? You should have said so sooner. Literally. I didn't know you believed in like democracy, bro. Welcome to America. Boop. And then they give you your citizenship. Do you guys know about that? What is that called? The 60-30 rule? You familiar with this? You familiar with the 60-30 rule? I think is what it is. Maybe it's not 60-30. Maybe it's hold on. Is it 60-20? Which law is this? 6520? That's what it is. It's the 6520. I kept getting that wrong. I always think it's 6030, but that's the color thing. 6030 is the rule of colors. We've got the 6020 rule. Or 6025. No, 6520. There we go. The 6520 rule. You guys heard about this? This is crazy. If you are above the age of 65 and you have lived in the United States for 20 years at least, you don't have to take your citizenship exam in English. Isn't that just nuts? Isn't that just like a crazy thing? So, yeah. Isn't that just like a little bit crazy? Here it is. Hold on. Here are the questions and answers from the 2020 version of the civics test for those who qualify for the 6520 special consideration. Where is this? If you qualify for the 6520 special consideration, the USCIS officer will ask you to answer 10 of the 20 civics questions with an asterisk, and you must answer at least 6 of the 10 correctly. It's like you don't have to study at all. And that was for the 2020 civics test. It's changed since then, and literally, here are the questions. Here are the 10 questions. Or no, here are the 20. Ready? Here are the 20. You only get asked about 10 of these, and you only have to get 6 of them right. So you only have to know 6 of the 20. Ready? Number 1. What is the supreme law of the land? The U.S. Constitution. Number 2. How many amendments does the Constitution have? Admittedly, this is probably a trickier one for most people. There's 27. Next, what is the economic system of the United States? Capitalism or a free market economy? Those are the 2 answers it looks for. This is the second part. Name one power of the U.S. Congress. Write laws, declare war, or make the federal budget. Hey, Amy! Saludos desde Wisconsin. Saludos, amiga. ¿Cómo estamos? Amo a todos los que están viviendo ahí en Wisconsin. ¿Quién está en Wisconsin? Ni idea. Next one. What is the name of the Speaker of the House of Representatives now? That's I don't know if that's tougher. I actually don't know. Would that be tougher for people? The Speaker of the House question? You think that'd be a tougher question? Who was it in 2020? Who was the Speaker of the House in 2020? Before, No, was it? No, it wasn't Paul Ryan. Who was Speaker of the House? Hold on. Chexy Wexy. Nancy Pelosi. True. Duh. Who was it before her? Yeah, because she changed for the midterms. Oh.
JMS just subscribed on YouTube.
JMS. I know it's Mike Johnson now, but we're thinking 2020. I didn't figure that in. I was thinking post-election. Okay, yeah, maybe I fail. But I still got 4 more. No. Speakers of the House. Let me look this up, actually. That's interesting. Let me look through who it's been. She's been Speaker of the House a couple times. Yo! Roman America. I almost said Bone in America. Roman America, thank you for the 5. Appreciate the super chat, big guy. Appreciate it big time.
Romade America sent $5.
All right, so we had Nancy Pelosi from 2007 to 2011. John Andrew Boner was the Speaker of the House from 2013 to 2017. Then you had Paul Ryan till 2019. I was close. That's a single year difference. I was close. Give me credit, please. Anyway, then it was Nancy Pelosi from 2019 to 2023. Then it was Kevin McCarthy for a little bit, 2023 to 2025, and then it was Mike Johnson for the 118th and 119th Congresses. So, yep. Okay, you got to give me some credit there, though. Nancy Pelosi was an easier one to guess than Paul Ryan. Who was thinking Paul Ryan? I'm kind of goated for that. So even though I got it wrong, I'm kind of still a winner. Anyway, here's the next question. This one's super tough. How many years is the president of the United States elected for? Oh no. I'm never going to be able to guess that. Next, what is the name of the president of the United States now? A real tough one. Next, what is the name of the vice president of the United States now? Another real tough one. Next, who vetoes bills? Another real tough one. Next, what is the highest court in the United States? Another really tough one. Supreme Court. Netanyahu, real. Dude, I want to take a citizenship test. Be like, what is the supreme law of the land? The Israeli Constitution. How many amendments? Okay, that one, there's not really a funny way of doing it. What is the economic system of the United States? Crony capitalism. Name one power of Congress. Send aid to Israel. What is the name of the Speaker of the House of Representatives? Whoever Netanyahu wants. Who vetoes bills? Benjamin Netanyahu. What is the highest court in the United States? The Knesset. I know it's actually, isn't the Knesset like, doesn't it, hold on, what is the literal definition of Knesset? Assembly. Okay. I thought it was court something. My Hebrew's not so good. Anyway, we'll keep going over these questions because they're really tough. Who is the governor of your state now? Really tough. Rights and responsibilities. What do we show loyalty to when we say the Pledge of Allegiance? Who lived in America before the Europeans arrived? Who wrote the Declaration of Independence? George Washington is famous for many things. Name one. And the options, I'll read these out. The options are Father of our country, First President of the United States, General of the Continental Army, and President of the Constitutional Convention. Abraham Lincoln is famous for many things. Name one. And it's listed: freed the slaves, saved or preserved the Union, led the United States during the Civil War, 16th President of the United States, delivered the Gettysburg Address. Martin Luther King Jr. is famous for many things. Name one. Fought for civil rights, worked for equality for all Americans, and worked to ensure that people would not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. 18. What major event happened on September 11th, 2001? Symbols. Why does the flag have 13 stripes? That's an interesting one that I actually don't think a lot of people would know. It's the colonies. It's the original colonies. Cheating on his wife. Yeah. What is Martin Luther King Jr. famous for? Cheating on his wife? Being a communist? Holidays. Name 3 national U.S. holidays. So those are the 20 questions, of which you have to answer 6. If you are above the age of 65 and you have lived in the United States for 20 years, and you don't even have to take it in English. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that so crazy? So yeah, that's the state of immigration to the United States and naturalization. So, yep. Anyway, guys, we are I think we're going to wrap the stream up there. We'll wait just a second in case there's any last second super chats. But thank you guys. Thank you guys so much, by the way, for the kind words. Thank you guys for the support on YouTube, on TikTok. Not really TikTok so much, but Instagram and Kick and Rumble. Ooh, Prax Ben just tagged me in a post. Huh. Hey, yeah, we're almost to 5K on YouTube. That's true, actually. Dude, we're almost at 5K on YouTube. We got to look up the analytics here. The analytics are actually kind of nuts. We've jumped up a ton recently. We are at analytics. Hold on. We're at 40,000 views in the last 28 days. And we've gained 2.7 thousand subscribers in the last 28 days. So we're rising up, guys. We are rising up. And hey, Nora, don't worry. The stream is going to it's going to be up. So don't even worry. You'll be able to watch it. And yes, we've got very exciting stuff. Yo! Super chat from Tice. Let's flip and go. Yeah, so true. So true. It's like, these are not tough questions. The full exam, I encourage everybody to do the 120 questions. You should know all of those. You should know all of those. And there's actually some interesting ones. There are some that are probably a bit more difficult in the 120 question exam. So, yeah. Check that out. But yes, next week we will be having a debate tour across campuses in Utah with Reawaken USA. Very excited for that. We're going to have debates. Holy forehead. Holy. Got to use the hair to cover it up a little bit. We'll be doing some epic debates. We've got collaborations going. Those were the real questions. Yes, those were real questions. Those were the actual questions that you will literally be asked by the citizenship officer. I like the green tips. Dang it, do I still have the... Dude, crap. Let me make the... Now I'm removing the green tips from my hair. There we go. Green tips removed. We're good. Anyway, yeah, those were the real questions. I will be coming to the U of U. We'll be at the U of U on the 7th and 8th. So in a week, we'll be there on the 7th and 8th. We will be also there at the 13th and 14th. We have got a lot of really cool stuff coming up. Yeah, after those 20 questions, you become as American as George Washington. Yep, that's exactly how it happens. Will you be down at Utah Tech? I don't believe so. But if you're at Utah Tech, you have to join the Utah Federation of College Republicans there because they're great. So anyway, very excited for all of that. Very excited for everything planned. Potential collaborations with the Hodge twins. See, we've extended the invitation to Hunter Avalon to do a debate with him. He has not gotten back to us yet. We will see if he takes the bait. If he goes, not takes the bait. We'll see if he accepts the courteous invitation. We hope so. And yeah, we'll be seeing you guys later. I don't know if we're going to be able... Yeah, let's do a stream tomorrow. Let's do it. We'll do a stream tomorrow at about the same time, maybe even earlier. We'll shoot for 9 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We'll shoot to actually do it this time. And we'll do a great stream. Very exciting content coming up. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube. Follow us on Rumble. Follow us everywhere you can. And repost the streams. Make clips. I love the clips. Audio's breaking up. I'm shooting myself. I'm shooting myself with a gun. I'm not doing that. That's a joke. That is a joke. Something's wrong. I don't know. It doesn't sound like... Are you guys really having issues? Mine's fine. On my end, it's totally fine. The customary audio... I didn't do anything. I didn't touch anything. I didn't do anything. Okay, hold on. I didn't do anything. Okay, hold on. You guys are tweaking. You're gaslighting me. I know you people are gaslighting me. I knew it. You people always do this. You always, bro, it's fine on Apple TV. You just got to get an Apple TV, dude. You're not on Apple TV. That's the problem. That's the problem, is that you're not on Apple TV, Ian. Okay? So, so anyway, very exciting, very hyped. Subscribe to the channel, post the clips, follow me on Instagram, kaiclips, KIKLIPS. Support the stream at powerchat.live/kaiclips. And huge shout out, by the way, to everybody who super chatted. The goat of the night was anonymous. It was this unnamed white knight gentleman who I saw at the Salt Lake airport. Total goat. And then a huge shout out to the question 007. Asian Mormon, as always. Asian Mormon is like the goat of all time. Yo, Aiden, thank you for
Aiden
finally
Nichols just
subscribing. Blake, thank you. LDS East, thank you. Kyle Paris, thank you for subscribing. Isbroki fan, of course. We appreciate you so much. And Brandon Fish, thank you for subscribing. Latter-day Based, we love that guy. Latter-day Based, great beamer. JMS, thank you for subscribing. Roman America, thank you for the super chat. And Tice4M, thank you guys for the super chat so much. We love you. I love you. I'm very excited. I can't wait to have another show tomorrow to talk about more news. But unfortunately for today, for this episode, we are out of time. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. See you later.